Good morning, Breakfast Clubbers. So we're here today in Otley in West Yorkshire, right on the edge of the Yorkshire countryside. We're going to be checking out this place just up the road here. It's Rafferty's Café. It's a traditional greasy spoon. So we're going to see how this one stacks up against some of the best. Let's go find out. Today I'm in Otley town centre and I found what could be a hidden gem of a greasy spoon. It's in the town centre but maybe a little off the beaten track down a back street surrounded by residential houses. It's Saturday morning. I find the place bustling, but I'm fortunate enough with my timing to be able to grab the only free table in the place. No sooner do I sit down, I see there's a queue forming behind me with people waiting out the door and others perched outside, patiently waiting for a table to come free. Clearly, this place has something about it that keeps customers coming back, especially those willing to queue. So when I head up to order, I'm advised there may be a little bit of a wait for the food. The reason's immediately obvious. There are just two staff working the very small kitchen and bar area, one taking orders, making drinks and serving, while James, who owns the place, is on cooking duty. He does assure me it'll be definitely worth the wait. I'm in no rush though, so I place my order for the large breakfast with added extras of hash browns and black pudding, then sit down patiently. Right. Thank you very much. Excellent. Once our breakfast arrives then, I'm immediately taken aback with how much food is on such a small plate and how exceptionally well it's been laid out. It may look cramped, but it's clear there's a tried and tested method at play here. The bacon and black pudding are acting like a breakwater, holding the tomatoes and beans back from encroaching on those eggs. Score for the presentation then, 9 out of 10. Next up, the toast. We've got two thin slices of lightly toasted bread, still piping hot when they land on the table. Lashings of butter on these. They're soft, moist and surprisingly moreish. Great on their own, even better when used to mop up the beans later on. Score, 8 out of 10. Now on to something that seems to be somewhat of a dying art. It's a fried bread. And what a treat we've got. We've got a single slice, halved, and it's a belter. Golden, crunchy and piping hot. This is how fried bread should be done. These days it's not often you see it included as standard, and while I notice there are a few regulars swapping it out for something else, likely in a nod to healthier choices, but I'm definitely not one of them today. Score, 9 out of 10. Now on to the mushrooms. These are very thickly sliced, well cooked with a good colour on them from the grill. Usually find mushrooms overcooked, often to the point that they just taste of nothing but water. But there's plenty of texture still left in these. They're almost crunchy when bitten into. Bit of added pepper which draws out the best of them. Score, 9 out of 10. Let's move on to the beans then. These are hot with a thick rich sauce. Perhaps a little overcooked to the point where they're getting a little bit mushy. However, there's a good portion, which is mostly hidden by the sausage right now, and the leftover bean juice gets mopped up later on. Score, 5 out of 10. Now let's crack into the eggs. And despite the best breakwater efforts, they've still fallen victim to the dreaded tomato water. As you can see here, the eggs are just swamped. However, that's just an observation, but is one of the main reasons why I personally am not a big fan of plum tomatoes directly on the breakfast plate. Anyway, back to the eggs because these are absolutely stand out for me here. The whites are cooked exceptionally well and we have a perfect basted glaze over the top of the yolks. On cutting into the yolks, you can see they're extremely runny, just how they should be. These eggs are for me an example of absolute perfection. Score, 10 out of 10. Let's have a look at these sausages then. Hopes were high rolling in from the eggs, but sadly the sausage lets things down here a bit. Whilst not being the worst in the world, and not the standard catering sausages you often find in places like this, they were a little overdone, a little dry, and lacking in any particular flavour. I'm not convinced that even if these were perfectly cooked, that they would have been any better. As they say, you're only as good as the ingredients you use. I've heard good things about the sausages since on social media, so maybe this was just an oddity on the day, which can and does happen. Score, 3 out of 10. Peeking out from under the hash browns and black pudding now, it's our tin tomatoes. They've done the job soaking the plate, but haven't brought much favour along for the ride, I'm afraid. Nothing terrible, just not winning any prizes. Score, 4 out of 10. Once we find a tomato-free zone on the plate, it's time to bring out the black pudding. And what a treat this is. These are chunky slabs, thick enough to wedge your door open with, clearly freshly sliced, and just look how good they look inside. You'd expect they have a great savoury flavour, and you'd be right too. Some of the best we've had on the channel so far. Score, 10 out of 10. Perfect. Right, now on to the ever controversial hash browns. On the parts that hadn't been affected by the tomatoes, they had a very nice crisp to the edges. The interiors held that hot, fluffy, shreddy potato that you expect from hash browns. These held up well and helped in soaking up our egg yolk and also some of that bean and tomato juice. Score, very good, 7 out of 10. And last but not least, now, it's the bacon. This has been playing a crucial role as a barrier all morning, but now it's time to taste it. We've got 3 excellently cooked rashers of medium to thickly sliced back bacon, plenty of that expected salty flavour in 3 very lean slices. Yep, not much fat on these, but where there is some, it's got a good crisp to it, which only adds to the flavour. Unsurprisingly, our bottom slice does end up being a bit on the soggy side, again from that dreaded tomato water. But overall, really solid bacon. Score, 8 out of 10. Now let's discuss value. The base breakfast is priced at £9.50 with fried bread, toast and a drink of tea or coffee included. Even alone, I'm thinking this is really good value as it is. Then we go and add 2 pieces of black pudding for £1 extra and also 2 hash browns for only another £1. That's a measly 50 pence per extra item. For me, that's cracking value. Couple that with the friendly staff, the excellent greasy spoon environment / atmosphere, and there you'll appreciate why I'm giving this top marks for value for money today. Sometimes it's not all about the food, but the experience overall. Score, a superb 10 out of 10. After crunching all those numbers together then, the total point score for today's breakfast is 92 out of a maximum of 120. Putting that into a percentage for our final Breakfast Club score then, and Rafferty's Café in Otley, today scores a huge 76.7%, landing it right in the middle of our good rating bracket. And with that score, our updated leaderboard looks like so. Rafferty's Café taking 4th place, just ahead of Banjo's Café, and ultimately ending the Hungry Horses' short tenancy in 10th spot. A brilliant little Backstreet Café, brimming with charm, great value, and some of the best eggs and black pudding we've seen on the channel. If you've been to Rafferty's yourself, or you've got another local gem in Otley I should check out, drop it in the comments. And if you've enjoyed this video, give it a like, maybe even subscribe if you're not already. Don't forget, you can always join us over on Facebook on the Full English Breakfast Club Facebook group. Until next time, may your yolks be runny, your tea strong, and your black pudding never dry. Thanks for watching. Bye for now. What a bustling place that was. When I arrived, I could barely get through the door with the amount of customers in there. It's only a small place, but I tell you what, they pack a lot in. Just as much as they pack on those plates, and they pack it well. That was a large breakfast, and I'm astonished how much food they got on that plate. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.